Medical school didn't teach me about healing. I went to school, went to medical school, did residency, did fellowship, and I never drew the conclusion that what we learn actually isn't about healing. It was until I actually became plant-based, which I have to tell you about that in another story. But when I became plant-based, I actually watched the movie Forks Over Knives. Watched the movie Forks Over Knives, and I was completely blown away that people were actually using food. If you haven't watched the movie, I highly recommend you watch it. It is a movie about how people use food to transform their lives. They use whole food, plant-based diets. And people that have had end-stage heart disease, kidney disease, diabetes, they reverse their disease using diet. I was like, what is this? This can't be true. And so it really made me like explore more. I became like obsessed with learning more about this. I read every book that I could get my hand on. I just wanted to dig more and more. I actually became certified in plant-based nutrition. And then I kept striving to find out more. And I was like, well, there's got to be a way to practice this. What kind of doctors practice this? And that's when I learned about lifestyle medicine. And that's how I ended up becoming passionate about lifestyle medicine. I still practiced critical care for a really long time after that. And I tried to figure out where it would fit in with my life. And actually, as I was practicing, over the course of my career as a doctor, things completely changed. There were so many more children that were coming to the hospital that had diseases that normally we would see in adults. Like there were children showing up with hypertension first, and then there were more children that were overweight, and that was affecting kids that were admitted to the ICU with asthma. They were having really long stays. And then we started to see more kids with type 2 diabetes, things that you normally don't see until late into midlife. And so that, over the course of my career in the ICU, I was shocked that was happening. And the thing is, when you try and treat children with these kinds of diseases, it's not the children that need to be treated, right? Yes, the diseases affecting the children, but often these are diseases of lifestyle, like I was learning in that movie. And when I was shocked that these principles that I learned in Forks Over Knives and that I was learning in plant-based nutrition, I was learning in lifestyle medicine, weren't actually what my colleagues were using to treat these children or treat adults for that matter. And so I became more and more convinced that this was the path that I wanted to take to really help people reverse disease. And I will say that over that time, I actually had a couple of friends actually that ended up having high cholesterol and having heart events. And even when they were getting cared for, I had I had two friends actually that had open heart surgery, and family members that had open heart surgery. And truthfully, after the surgery, you would think that's an optimal time to talk about lifestyle, but that's not what they talk about. And it's changing now, but it's still not in the forefront. I think the way that we are taught and the way that is ingrained in the culture of medicine is it's management. It's managing disease. It's not about healing or preventing recurrence of disease. Somewhat. I mean, that's kind of the goal of the cholesterol meds, but we can do so much more, because still, food and movement and sleep and stress and connection are still treated as if they are, extra or kind of like on the outside instead of at the forefront. And so that's a little bit long-winded, but that's kind of how I got to where I am today. And I'll be sharing a lot more about my joyful medicine. My practice has even evolved from there because, I learned so much and I want to share so much, but also the way that you approach it and the way that you teach it and the way that I help my patients make changes is through joyful medicine. So hope you'll listen in for more. I'll be coming back every day to share more about this. If you are suffering from any of those diseases, I specifically work with women in midlife and families that are suffering from metabolic diseases like insulin resistance, prediabetes, diabetes, metabolic causes of weight gain, and helping them apply lifestyle medicine in a culturally appropriate, life-affirming, accepting manner that honors their lived experience and centers joy. So you can click the link and book a discovery call or join my free community